So it continued through Antiochus Epiphanes. And for those of you who don't know who Antiochus Epiphanes is, remember you had Greece and the kingdom of Greece with Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great had it was five, but he had four top generals. Okay. And then when he died, his kingdom got split between his four generals. So each one of them took an area. Well, this one here was sort of the area around Syria. Okay. Syria, Assyrian, that's where that kingdom came from. And he was one, two, three. He was the third in line to the throne. So it's three generations after, well, it would be four if you count the first guy. Four generations after Alexander the Great died. So this guy technically was a Greek. All right. So it continued in type through Antiochus Epiphanes. He was the Seleucid king of the Hellenistic Syrian Empire from 233 to 187 BC. All right, and you can go look this guy up. It's all historical, friend. You can go to any secular book and look up Antiochus Epiphanes because he was a real guy who lived. All right, this came out of Daniel chapter 8. Now listen to this. Therefore, the male goat grew. Now, the male goat he's talking about here is Alexander. Alexander the Great. Okay. The male goat grew very great, but when he became strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it, four notable ones came up toward the four winds of heaven. Four winds of heaven? Yeah. So the four notable ones he's talking about here, and I'll just move up here. The four notable ones he's talking about are the generals I was just telling you about. Alexandra had four generals. Okay. And then the four winds is basically north, south, east, and west. That's all he's talking about, the four winds of heaven. And out of one of them came a little horn. Who is the little horn? The little horn is none other than Antiochus Epiphanes. That's who he's talking about. Which one of them? It was the Seleucid kingdom, which grew exceedingly great toward the south and toward the east and toward the glorious land. So what is he saying? He's saying that he started conquering more land for himself. All right. The glorious land is always Israel. It's glorious. Say, man, have you been to Israel? Have you seen that place? No, I've seen pictures of it, and it's not glorious to me. But to God, it's glorious. It's glorious. You say, man, I don't like Israel. It doesn't matter. What did God say about it? God says it's glorious. And guess what? You know where you're going to be living in the millennium? You're going to be living in the land of Israel. So if I was you, I would get to like Israel a lot because that's where you're going to be if you're a believer. And it grew up to the host of heaven. What does that mean? That means that God had allowed him to take as much land as God wanted him to take, and his kingdom had hit its plateau. Remember about the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, where it says that Daniel he had the dream of the statue, and God told him that his before he became prideful, his limbs had got all the way to heaven, and God chopped the tree down and left the stump. That's what he's talking about right here. That God had allowed him to expand as much as God is going to allow him to expand. And it cast down some of the hosts and some of the stars to the ground and trampled them. See, what in the world can hosts and stars to the ground and trample them? Yes. These are, remember, there's a battle going on in the spirit, just like there are battles going on in uh, in our life, in the physical world, right? But the greater battle is happening behind the scenes. Got to go back in some things to Daniel, where Daniel and Gabriel came and said, "Hey, Daniel, I'm going to fight the prince of Persia, and when I finish with him, I got to go fight the prince of Greece." Do you think he was going to fight Darius, the king of Persia, and Alexander the Great? No, he was talking about demons. So, what is he talking about? In the physical world, it's kings. In the spiritual world, it's host, that is the host demon of a nation, the prince of Persia, the prince of Greece, the prince of Israel. They have princes, principalities. Principalities in Ephesians 6 are these princes that the devil had set over nations. See that? Principality. So let me show you one, just to give you an example. And I'm not going to spend much time here but I do want everybody to follow us. If I don't do this, friends, there'll be a lot of people they're not familiar with the Bible when they get to this stuff, and they're not as familiar with it as you are and as I am. So they don't know what we're saying. Okay. When Daniel was praying, something happened, and he's confessing, right? And he says, "Hey, look, I came." Not this chapter, was it? Where he was fighting, where he was telling that he was fighting the Persian Greece. Yeah, right here. Okay. And Daniel was talking about right here. Look.